welcome to season 3 of Iris in the City. It's been a minute and I am glad to be back. And we have some wonderful things for this season. We're talking health, we're talking wealth, we're talking finance, romance, and getting rid of nuisance. So join me on this journey this season as we interview some fabulous guests and people from city to city. Today, I want to first introduce you to my producer, Shani Scott, on air.
You doing too
Shani,
much.
say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody. Good
Welcome,
evening.
Shani. Shani's going to keep us updated with some entertainment news. We're going to have the mandatory minute. So if you follow Shani Scott, if you want to keep up with her daily while she's on her radio journey, she's the queen of all things in radio. So thank you, Shani, and she will be back to let us give us the mandatory minute. But now we must introduce our special guest of the day. And our special guest is one of and the only Miss Taj Paxton. Shani, can you tell us a little bit about Miss Taj Paxton?
Absolutely. So Taj is a 5-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, producer, writer, and director known for creating powerful documentaries that explore culture, identity, and social impact. She's also the director and executive producer of WNBA 2024, the year that changed everything. The acclaimed Peacock documentary series chronicles the historic season that transformed women's professional basketball. Her award-winning work includes United Skates, Out of Iraq, The If Project, Light in the Water, with screenings at the United Nations, U.S. Congress, and more than 50 international film festivals worldwide. She's a respected voice in the entertainment industry. She's spoken for organizations including Sundance Institute, Women in Film, SAG-AFTRA Outfest, and Doc NYC. She's also the daughter of renowned television judge and attorney, Judge Mablean Ephriam. You can follow her on Instagram for updates on her latest projects and appearances. Now, today she's here to talk to us about her current project that's streaming on Peacock called The Rise. It is a comprehensive 5-part documentary series that explores the development and increasing prominence of women's professional sports. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to everyone Miss Taj Paxton.
Thank you. That was a great intro. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You've done some wonderful things. I mean, we are impressed by your resume and can't wait to hear more about how you started this process. So tell us about this documentary and how you got involved in it.
I think she's having some difficulty hearing. You can't hear Iris?
No,
She can't hear me.
I can see the enthusiasm. I can see her mouthing WNBA, but I cannot hear her. Except when you're on, I can hear her, and then when you disappear, I can't hear her. Like,
Okay, well, let's just
I'll stay on.
Let's just all stay on.
Let's Iris. Can you talk now? Let me see.
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh no, we still can't hear her, huh?
Oh.
No. Okay. I thought it was when you were on we could hear it, but we just can't hear it all. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to that. Let me stop acting like I know this app.
Let's see. Well, then we're just gonna I'll just be the translator for Iris.
Is there a way that she can log out and log back in?
You want to log out and
rolling?
Maybe
if
it's just
Shani,
a glitch.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but yes, you can't hear you.
Can't hear a word.
Okay, but
Chris
why don't you just
either,
roll
so
on with the question so that we can keep this interview rolling?
Okay. So we're gonna keep going, and then I will just ask you the questions for Iris. Okay.
So we just want to know. We want her to tell us how she got involved in this documentary.
All right. Well, share with us how you got involved with, well, what inspired you to create the documentary for the WNBA, the
So
Rise?
it's a part of a series of films, and the series was already underway. And I got a call about directing the WNBA one, and I leapt at it because I felt like I know that the women of the WNBA have been big stands for social justice, and that they were in the middle of a labor movement, what I think is a labor movement. And I just love the idea of being able to chronicle Black women who stand up and stand out. That just really appealed to me. So I jumped right in. I haven't had, and years ago, I was an executive on a project about Shamika Holtzclaw, who's one of
Mm.
the sensational members of the athletes in the W in the 2000s. So that's where, my interest in the W came from, I think. And by the time this came along, I was already aware of how they show up for people. And I felt like this was a yes for me right away.
Okay. Well, it's definitely, well, you have a lot. So because let's break that part down, because I know earlier today when we were talking, I actually got a little confused on which documentary we were talking about. So there's two, right? We have The Rise, and then we have WNBA 2024.
No, we just
No?
we just we have. I was saying, think about it like 30 for 30. Do you watch that sports doc
Mm-hmm.
series?
Yeah.
So think about it like 30 for 30, the Dennis Rodman story. 30 for 30,
30.
Bulls versus, Buffalo Bills, the two Bills. Like think about it like that. So it's the Rise colon WNBA, or the
NBA 2024.
Rise colon the Women of NASCAR. So it's the same film. It's just got the long title.
Okay, I get it now. And there was a person that reached out to you um, to do this.
Yeah, the producer of the
That
film reached
is,
out to me because she was a part of the team that was doing the other films on hockey and NASCAR and the X Games and investments in women's sports. So when she was time to do the WNBA one, she reached out to me.
yeah, absolutely. So, and you did make it clear to me that you couldn't tell me what you were working on next. So let's talk about. We got to follow her if you want to know what she has coming out next, because her resume is completely amazing. I haven't seen some of the pieces that we talked about, but I definitely want to go back and check them out. And what really inspired me to want to, have you on different platforms. It's a beautiful thing to see another woman of color doing great things for an institution that supports women. And with the WNBA, it started out they weren't getting paid the same, and which we don't get paid the same in most industries. We don't get that. So we
Right.
applaud you for championing that and bringing that to light of how we did come to this point where salaries are rising. Actually,
Rising. That's the perfect
mm-hmm.
way to describe that. The rise. The salaries are rising. And, for me, it's that our film doesn't touch so much on the salaries because it's really more about the year, like 2024, which was this pivotal year that a lot of people started thousands more people started watching women's basketball. Some people came back to the game. So our film is really about that part. And I personally couldn't see telling that part without telling the history a little bit and about the
Mm.
27 years that came before the 2024 moment. So we
It
kind of weave it together. And in that weaving, what I think you get and why people root for them is that they go so hard for this game. And that some of them, they do it day and night for 8 months, out of the year when you count like leading up to the season and then finals, etc. And it's not even so much the pay equity, is that it just didn't even feel like, no, it felt like nothing near what they were worth. So when you finish watching the film and you see that they're great athletes and that they deserve respect, you'll want to support them in their labor movements as salaries hopefully keep rising.
Right, absolutely. Because if I remember correctly, I know we have one that has hit that $1 million. She hit the $1 million mark with her salary. So I'm looking for that to happen for the other women. But the biggest thing is too is we have to go out and support the game so they can get raises. People have to
I
be in
think
the
people do
seats.
support the games. People are, really out there going to games. There's record attendance. I just saw a new Nielsen compilation today of record attendance. People are out there, and it's like we're not gonna tie. I'm not making these decisions. I think the feeling is that nobody wants to see the athletes' salaries tied to attendance. What they want to see is it's tied to the business model. So it's kind of like, when you're the CEO at your company, you get a good solid salary and then you get some bonuses on the years that you do well. And my understanding of what the women were asking for was pay us well from the jump, regardless of whether the seasons are up or down.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think across uh, all jobs,
Industries.
we want that. Yeah,
Yes.
industries. That's the word I was looking for. We want all of us want that, but there
Yeah.
is usually yeah
And
that that
that's why I
difference.
think to me I get so into it because I make all these films about social impacts and activism and causes, and then when this one came I thought, wow, this is an even bigger way to have this conversation because people get to look at these women daily, weekly, and see them play and to relate to them. And when you do that, you'll understand that that's their job. And like anybody who does a job, they want respect and they want a salary and and freedom for the family. And in that way, clearly, most people can't make $1 million a year in their jobs. But that part of their job, to me, makes them so much like the everyday Black woman and the everyday person.
Now, your documentaries focus on stories that inspire change. What message do you hope young girls and aspiring athletes take away from the series?
I think it's important to focus on who you are on the court and then to have a moral compass off the court as well. We are in a media saturated landscape, so what, like it or not, like the voices of people who we look at every day matter. And so what are you standing up for? And the W has this long history of those athletes, the women in W standing up for rights. And I think that's an inspiration to athletes of every gender because I love it when people say these women inspire everybody, not just little girls. But that's an opportunity to say how do I contribute? How do I contribute off the court as well as on the court?
Now, if somebody's never, ever, ever watched a WNBA game before, what's
Mhm.
the one thing that you think they'll learn or be surprised by after watching your documentary?
They'll be surprised by how funny some of the players are. One of my favorite interviews in the movie is with this player named Courtney Williams, and she plays for Minnesota. And she's so funny. Like I could barely keep my face straight doing her interview. I would have to kind of turn my head and laugh because she was just so spot on, like everything she said. And what I saw was um, that they talk all day long. Like they always have to do a post game interview, a pre game interview, interview. So they're just used to it. And she does it in a way that was just so refreshing. So that's one thing. And then also if I could add some things, is how intelligent each of these women are about the game of basketball and life. They're strategists. You can see it. They're not. They didn't get to where they are accidentally, and I think that that's important to acknowledge. Um, which Black women just gotta always show up and be the best at things.
Absolutely. So, what makes this series stand out? What makes this series stand out more than others?
More than other series, like sports series, or this
Sports
film from the
series.
other four films. What you asking?
What so what makes it what is it about it that makes it stand out other than it is about the WNBA? What is that the wow factor that
Oh, the
draws people
wow.
into
The
it.
wow is the season. Like we take you on a journey from beginning to end because it starts in April and this goes all the way through September. And just on that alone, not even the history, but just on that alone is great basketball. And it's a great story. Like so many of the subjects that we followed, that year was their big year. And
Mm-hmm.
if you ever know what it's like to, want something hard and have worked for it for a decade or two, and then finally here it is. I won't give it away in case people see it, but there's that kind of satisfaction. And then you have other players who have worked really hard and give their all, and it doesn't quite land for them that year the way they expected it to. And that's just an exciting story to start with them from the beginning and see how it goes and go to the end. So that's the wow. And there's our film was edited by this woman named Lauren Stewart, and her editing is so great that people who follow basketball have said to us when they watch it, "Oh my God, you helped me relive the thrill of the season. Like it's like I got to see the season a second time." And for fans, there's that. And then for new fans, there's just the thrill of watching people's dreams come true, and some people's dreams not come true.
And with the WNBA being a hot topic, you know, uh, how much of the success that they have now, would you say, is due to the athletes themselves, and how much of that success is due to the increased media coverage that's finally caught up to it?
I don't think I could put a number to that. Like it's not like it's a percentage of what, but it all goes together. It's the way that they play at such a great level. It's the way the media has covered the athletes, a lot of off the court, but it does bring attention on the court. It's also that the players who are playing now come in with their own followings. With social media being as popular as it is, you also kind of have a peak of like the social media arc, because in 2008 when Twitter and Instagram, it starts to grow, and then through the pandemic, all the so many of the players, their presence grew, so that by the time they come into the league, for the new ones, there's so much audience, and for the ones who have been in the league, there's a big audience. So you have 140 women, so many of them with millions of followers, that their audience is finding them. I think it all goes together.
Now, you mentioned the one player you interviewed that had you laughing, but also while you were putting this together, was there a particular player, coach, or moment that surprised you and just changed your perspective on the league?
That's a really good question. Surprised me or changed my perspective? I would say watching Angel Reese,
Mm,
watching her play changed my perspective. And here's how: people paint them as just athletes, and you could say anything about them, just whatever. And watching Angel, you realize this person just got out of college. She's 21 years old at the beginning of her career with so much attention on her. And I think that dawned on me when you hear them. There's a scene we have in the All Star game. A lot of it is not in there, but at the 2024 All Star game, you just see her having such a good time and like goofing around and throwing shots for pizza. And you realize like she's post collegiate. Like y'all are putting way too much,
Pressure.
you're focusing way too much on her,
yeah,
as if like if you would want that done to your son or daughter right when they graduate from school. I mean, she's handling it, no question. But my point is, I don't think it should come her way like that.
right. Yeah, these young people got to deal with a different set of different type of bullying than
Mm-hmm.
what we had. Um,
Mm-hmm. Walking
so,
through tunnels and people booing you because of the way the
mhm.
media has painted you, and it's like, come on, she's can you imagine what she has to be made of in order to go through that? And when I've seen articles about her mom, and her brother, of course, plays now in the NBA, and you realize that mother poured into them. There's a whole
Mhm.
story in her. She's
Yeah.
remarkable. that both
Yeah.
of her kids have made it to this level professionally with the mindsets they have. I don't see enough interviews with her.
And now, if you could sit courtside with any three women in sports, any three women in sports history, to watch a WNBA game, who would they be and why?
Who would I sit next to if I were watching the WNBA game? I would sit next to Dawn Staley because I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
learn so much and it's going to be fun. And everybody's going to come over and say hello to her because she's a goat.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably want to sit next to, um, okay, so wait, she passed away. There's this Asian congresswoman who is the one who actually wrote the legislation for Title IX. And I imagine what that would be like for her to have written legislation that provided the money for girls for girls to get equal money in middle school and high school sports, to now sit here and watch the WNBA. So I mean, she's gone on to glory, so I can't talk. We can't sit with her. Oh, let me make sure about that. But oh, I know this is live. I'm supposed to be with this, but wait a minute. I got to get this answered. This is how my brain works. I have to make sure that she's. I'm good for saying somebody is gone and then they're not. So let's get that right.
Yeah, we don't
Her
want
name
to take
is
away.
Takimoto Mink, and Takimoto Mink is not gone. What? We
Okay.
get to sit with Takamoto Mink. Okay, that's my person. Her nickname is Patsy, but that's definitely it. Patsy Mink. I want to sit with Dawn Staley, Patsy
That's me.
Mink,
And one more.
and Cheryl Miller
Ooh. Yeah,
for
that's a
sure.
nice three. All right. Now, when people finish watching WNBA 2024, um, what conversations do you want people to have around their dinner tables, in the classrooms and boardrooms about your documentary?
I want them to say how many more documentaries they want to see about the WNBA because there's so many more to see. I mean, there's so much more story to tell. I want them to talk about the the moment that gets me is when the women on the links wore the shirts with the bullet holes representing Philando Castile and had the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And they were fined, and there was a threat that they wouldn't be able to play. So we have that moment in the film, and it's just the four players from the Lynx sitting at that table, and you can see the sacrifice that each of them has calculated what this could mean. This could mean the end to their careers, but they have to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
And I would want people to watch that moment for sure, and then go back and read more. But when you say, I'm going to put my personal gain on the line to stand up for what's right and to hopefully, shine a light that makes life easier for people who have to walk the streets every day wondering if the police are going to shoot me for no reason at all,
Mm-hmm.
that just moved me so much. It still moves me. It's at a time when people are so quiet about what's happening that they were willing to do that. I would love people to talk about that moment.
All right. Well, her name is Taj Paxton. It is The Rise, WNBA 2024. And you can catch it on Peacock. That's where
You
you
can
should
catch it on
go.
Peacock. You can catch it on Apple TV. And I open myself up to this because I want to hear from people. So if people want to offer their comments, I'm Taj Paxton on Threads and on IG. And I would love to just hear what people think, especially the people who have followed the league for a while. Like, did we do your league justice? And for the people who are new, I get a little bit of feedback and people say, oh, that was great. I feel like I learned a lot about them. I wasn't a basketball fan, but now I can watch them. But I'd love to hear from more people about that.
All right. Well, we're going to send them your way.
Okay.
So they can give you that feedback.
Okay. That sounds good. That sounds like a plan. Thank you, Iris in the city. Thank you, Shawnee.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Iris over there, even though I can't hear you, but thank
She
you.
can hear
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Have
Have
a
a good
good
night.
night. And thank you
Bye.
to Chris. I think, is that your person? Is his name
Yes.
Chris? Yeah. Thank you, Chris. All right.
Well, that
Okay.
was a great interview. Hopefully
I
people can
did.
hear me and they're not just looking at my mouth move, but you did a great job. Thank you. I learned so much about Miss Taj Paxton and this the rise with the WNBA.
The
And
Rise, WNBA
I think I'm
2024.
going to make sure that I take a look at it since it's a documentary and I think it's 5 parts. I just want to get all caught up in hopes that a new season comes out. So let's all tune in to Peacock, catch out The Rise, the documentary series by Miss Taj Paxton.
She's
What a
also
great,
Judge Mablean's. That's
yeah,
also
and
Judge
that was a
Mablean's
great fun
daughter.
fact.
Yeah.
Judge Mablean's daughter. So, wow. And we all love Judge Mablean.
Yes,
Now
we
we're just
do.
going to move on along to the mandatory minute with Miss Shani Scott on air.
I
Shani, what
know.
you got for us today?
Listen, it is so much going on. I don't even really know where to start. So, we know that, okay, let's start with the heavy stuff first. So, this week, yesterday actually, today is Wednesday. So, Monday, we got word that Eagle was in the hospital because he had a stroke. And unfortunately, the next day, he did end up passing. So let's keep his family in our thoughts and prayers. A stroke is a hard thing to recover from. I
Yes.
actually had a stroke in 2013 when I gave birth um, to my baby girl. So thank God I was able to recover, and
Yes.
I'm still here. But that is definitely something that is not easy to recover from. And some celebrities are speaking out about it because he did the song "A Whole New World" for Aladdin with
For the Beauty and the Beast, one of my favorites.
with Regina Bell. So
Mm-hmm.
she's expressed her hurt and how this has affected her in losing him. So we got to keep her in our prayers as well. Celine Dion also, that's another one that has spoke out about losing Kibo Bryson. I worked with him one time. He came and did a show at Jarvis Christian College when I was running a station in Tyler. And it was the funniest thing because, it's the UNCF, but he kept calling it UNICEF. And I was like, sir, it is not UNICEF. It is the UNCF. So,
okay. Well, he said, I'm supporting and I'm here. And what's really sad, and I'm really going to keep his family in prayer, is that I learned he had an 8-year-old son. I can't believe that, an 8-year-old baby. So yes, keep his wife, his son, and the rest of his family in prayer.
Oh wow. Yeah, we're gonna keep them in prayer. And
And so men, it's June. We want to make sure that you get to the doctor. June is Men's Health Month. We want to make sure that you get to the doctor this month. I asked my brother, why don't men go to the doctor? He didn't answer me. He just looked. 5 minutes later on Facebook, he said, men don't go to the doctor because men are afraid. So he was even afraid to answer the question. So men, we got to get you comfortable with going to the doctor, and some women. What's next, Shani?
Absolutely. Well, Stevie Wonder, apparently he's going to the doctor because he is celebrating his 76th birthday.
Wow, congrats. Okay, Stevie.
Yes, he is having his 76th birthday, which is crazy to me because this came up in the feed, but I'm like, I thought he had already had a birthday. But who am I? I don't know. I don't keep up with this. Stevie Wonder is not my author. So, but happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Who else?
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday. You know who else is 78 years old? Girl, Jeffrey Osborne. I went to see Jeffrey Osborne a couple of weeks ago, and when I tell you, he put on a show at 78. I was just like, oh my God. Whenever Jeffrey Osborne comes, I am definitely going to go. Now, I know you know who that is, right?
Yes. What do we have with Miss Cassie this week?
Girl, Cassie has moved out of the United States. She no longer resides here. She has moved over across the pond.
That's right, Cassie. Go get your piece.
Hey, she got $30 million.
Go get your piece.
Hey, She don't have to pay all them taxes over there. So, I'm not mad at her. And maybe because she and her husband went through a lot with that trial.
That was traumatic, and I'm sure.
He had to sit there and listen to all of these different things. So, girl, get your peace. I'm glad that this man was able to stay with you through this and support you through this. And of course, why would he leave, right? It was $30 million on the line. So
he gonna cry all the way to the bank, be sad all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
But Cassie, we wish you well in your new country with your $30 million.
$30 million. She said, I'm leaving the United States. Let me get over here. But she does fly back. She said that she will be coming back to New York because she does work there. And she said that's not a hard thing to do. So she's still a citizen here. She didn't lose her citizenship. Yeah, I'm like, girl, what kind of work? What are you coming back to do?
What are you doing?
What? Why are we coming back? We coming back? Why? Okay. But yeah, that's your mandatory minute.
Well, thank you, Shani Scott, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Ms. Taj Paxton, and you will check out The Rise of the WNBA on Peacock and give her some feedback. She wants to hear all the feedback, so follow her on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Ms. Taj Paxton. Follow Shani Scott on air, and of course, follow Iris in the City on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And when you're out in the city, don't forget to pick up your Iris in the City magazine.
Hey.
See you soon.